This is Mr. Smith, and welcome to the monthly video newsletter for media arts major parents. I gotta think of a smaller name for that. No matter. Behind me right now, if I edited this correctly, is a video submission that was done by two majors, Darian and Kwesi. This is their rough cut for their film festival submission. This is not even the final draft. This is their preliminary, we put everything in the right order cut. So congratulations to them for doing such a great job. I'm not going to show the whole clip now because I got a lot of stuff to cover. So let's move on. Next up, weekly video updates. No, I don't mean that I'm taking this monthly newsletter and turning it weekly. That'd be cool. But no, students are doing weekly video updates. Many of them are submitting these on a regular basis, which is fantastic. This is a great way for them to document what they're doing in class. If they're having trouble with something specific, it's a way where they can showcase that, and maybe I can offer additional suggestions. And it's a way for them to show you what they're doing for media arts, because they have a video they can show you. I encourage you to ask them to show you their videos. A lot of them are doing a great job, some of them better than others, but all these are supposed to be really short videos, like no more than a minute long. I'll accept up to 5 minutes, but if you're going on for more than 2 minutes, you're not really saying, hey, here's what I did, here's the problem I had. It's becoming more of a full project in and of itself. And these aren't meant to be full projects, they're only 20 points each. They're meant to be, here I process this quickly, let's get this out of the way, and let's get back to doing the big thing. The big thing right now is getting ready for, as I already mentioned, our film festival. It's a county-wide event. Every school with a media arts class is able to hand in a maximum of 4 entries. Okay, yep, I counted that right. It occurs to me that it's kind of weird that we still call it a film festival, because I guarantee you nothing that's going to be submitted has been produced on film. It's all digital. But oh well. But in any case, this is a really big deal, and submissions are due. And I don't mean due as in get them in now. I mean due as in they were actually due a couple of weeks ago. Now I understand we had a blizzard, and that caused some problems, and we're working on that. And we also have another problem that's slowing things down a bit, and that thing is we have 32-bit computers. And the 32-bit computers don't edit video well. They don't give enough resources to the video editing software for it to do what it needs to do in order to have green screen effects and stuff like that. Now, it's workable. You can get around it. As a matter of fact, I'm editing this right now on one of our 32-bit computers. I don't want to look behind me right now. No matter. Let's get back to a 64-bit machine. Okay, so on a 64-bit machine we can edit this. And here's the problem. We are trying to make headway towards using the 32-bit machines as much as we can and using 64-bit when we can. But we don't have 64-bit machines to hand out to the students. If you have a 64-bit computer, which if you don't know, if it's purchased in the last 5 years, you probably have a 64-bit machine. If you've got one of those at home, I strongly recommend that you let your child use that for editing video. If they have their own computer, many of my students have laptops, that's fantastic. If they can bring it into the classroom, even better, because I can give them tech support while they're here. But if you say, no, I'm not trusting you to bring that into the school, or I trust you, but I don't trust your classmates, I understand. I'm not saying, yes, they all have to bring their computers in, not by a long shot, but their life will be better for getting their work in and finishing projects without tearing their hair out from frustration when they get another crash if they are able to use an outside computer to edit. Now, if you need video editing software, we use Camtasia in the computer lab, and I like Camtasia, but it's not free. There is a free video editing program called HitFilm Express. I will have a link to that down here below somewhere, so you can click on that. And it's a free download. Will run on any 64-bit machine running Mac or Windows operating systems. You do have to create an account to activate it, so that's again not something that I'm installing on student computers for them. That's something that you should work with your child to get installed on the computer, but once it's activated, it's 100% free. You don't have to pay for anything. It supports chroma key. I'm actually going to be using HitFilm to edit some of this, if not all of it, so I like it. It works. If you're in the lab, use Camtasia. If you are using your personal computer and or you're cheap, like I am, I'm very cheap. This sweater was purchased at Goodwill. HitFilm, it's great. I am working with Mr. McRae and other people trying to get at least some 64-bit machines in here, but it's a slow-going process. So it is what it is, and we're working on it. As a bit of a segue into something else, sometimes when a student brings their computer in, I spend a decent amount of time removing malware from their computers. A lot of kids do this where they find stuff online and they click on it, or they don't necessarily have a strong grasp of internet safety, or somebody tricks them into something because there are people out there who make a living tricking other people, and suddenly their computer has an infection or 2 or 500, or the last one that I saw was over 1,000 infected files. It increases exponentially, and it's a really, really bad thing. So we're going to end this update with a couple things for basically helping along computer health. There's 2 tools that I use on a semi-regular basis. These are both free. I love that word, free. So the first is Malwarebytes Chameleon. Now, Malwarebytes Chameleon is kind of neat in that it uses some of the tricks that viruses use to get around viruses detecting them. As you may already know, if a virus is on a computer, one of the first things it does is it disables the anti-malware program that's also on your computer. So your anti-malware program can't detect it anymore, even if you give it updates that say it should be able to detect it. And if you install new stuff on, that stuff is immediately disabled because the malware looks for it and turns it off immediately. Chameleon uses some of those tricks that viruses use to get around the virus and still install on the computer. So basically you go to a link that I will put somewhere on here somewhere or down below, so you can click on it down there probably, and you put that on a flash drive. Ideally you're downloading it onto a computer that isn't infected by anything, putting it on a flash drive, moving over to the infected computer, and when you open up the zip file and extract it, there are a bunch of files that are all named for web browsers and other things, and they're in an order. Double click on the first one and it will use what's essentially an exploit to install the anti-malware program, and that will look for the infection. Now, if that first one doesn't work, you'll work on the next one, click on the next one, click on the next one, until it's installed. One of those should work. And I don't use Malwarebytes to routinely scan computers for problems, but if I know a computer has an infection, Malwarebytes is my go-to program for getting the main chunk of the infection off. Now, what do I use for regular scanning? I use a program called Avast, which is also free. There's a paid version and a free version. I don't pay for it. I use the free version, and that's totally legal because they offer the free version. And that one I don't install on student computers. That one you have to create an account for it to become active. And the majority of my students are under the age of 13. They're not allowed to make their own accounts yet legally without parent permission, but you're the parent, which is probably why you're watching this right now. So you could make an Avast account. It can be used on more than one computer. I have one Avast account that I use on several computers at the same time. And that would be another way to protect the computer in real time and help prevent some of the really nasty infections that are occurring. So hopefully you liked this recording. Hopefully you got some information that was useful to you. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. That might be next year. No, it'll be sooner than that. I try to reply to emails within 24 hours. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer because I like to write As you may have noticed if you've contacted me before, I don't write single sentence responses usually, I write paragraphs. I'm sorry, I like to be detailed. But in any case, this has been Mr. Smith. Have fun.